have the pleasure of being Martin's boss, and there are many things I could tell you about that experience that I probably shouldn't on a public stage. Martin, great to have you here. Thank you so much. Before we get going, I have a question for you, which is, have you done your AI avatar yet?
No. Should I?
Well, I don't know how many people in the audience have. I did mine. And probably like many of you, the first thing I did was send it to my kids. And that was a mistake. My 14-year-old daughter responded within about 30 seconds to say, "Dad, this is terrible. Looks nothing like you." And I was like, "Well, why? I mean, it looks great," which is something in itself. And I was like, "Well, why doesn't it look like me? Is it the clothes? No. Is it the physique? You know, I don't quite look like a superhero." She's like, "No, Dad, they've given you hair. Look at it." And there are some problems that generative AI cannot solve, and that might be a moonshot too many for me. So anyway, so look, it's great to have an opportunity to talk a little bit about our partnership with AWS. It's a partnership we've actually had for many years. And to give a little bit of context, you know, this is a partnership which is about migrating customers to the cloud, but of course modernizing, getting ready for the opportunities and challenges of AI and other capabilities that exist in the future. We've migrated around 130 customers around the world together. So this is a sizable partnership. It's a good run rate of business. Most weekends we're doing some sort of migration together. We've got a lot of experience of doing that. And it's great to have the opportunity to talk about how we're extending that partnership around Vantage Cloud on AWS.
Yes, it is. And it's great to be here, and it's great to see what we've been able to accomplish together. And the mutual investment we're making in the partnership, I think, is really paying off. We're ramping up a really good technical team. We've recently executed a strategic collaboration agreement, which provides the joint funding for our AWS customers, our joint customers, to be able to migrate and modernize using Vantage Cloud, as well as leveraging your cloud methodology.
That's right. And I think it's really important that we talk about both of those things, actually. There's the migration motion that we talk about often, which is, you know, typically moving a Teradata workload out of a owned data center into the public cloud. But also, you know, in addition to that, it's the value of modernization and how that can drive incremental business value and transformation for our customers. Now, most people probably have heard of AWS in this room, I would guess. But maybe you could start with a little bit about where you are with your growth journey as an organization right now.
Okay. Well, we, as the largest hyperscaler, we've quite a few customers have chosen AWS. We have over 1.5 million customers using our AWS database, analytics, AI, ML. We are now a $100 billion division of Amazon. And look, since the beginning, we've always known that partners were going to play a really key role in helping our customers make this journey to the cloud, transform their business. Today, we have 130,000 partners across 200 countries, and 70% of that is outside the U.S.
It's great. And maybe we should talk a little bit about, in the context of that, how do you think about modernization? So not just the migration motion, but the modernization as well. How do you approach that with your customers? How do you think about that?
So we're there from the beginning to the end, whether it's migration, modernization, the whole cloud journey. We often start with a cloud adoption framework. This brings together our years of experience, actually decades now, of helping our customers. We apply best practices to help our customers accelerate their business outcomes. And us being able to do that is only really possible with our partners, and especially mission critical partners like Teradata, because we working together. It's about making sure that the customers are prepared, ready to make this journey. It's really important to have the transformation pipeline, and then it's really key that again, we've got partners like Teradata who can help jointly work together with our customers and help them figure out what they need to do to really realize, especially in the modernization of their data architecture. how to get these insights into the cloud, into their data, using the cloud, and be able then to transform customer experiences.
And it's interesting because Martin talked a fair bit about customer experience in the presentation he just gave. We know that that's kind of a locus for us. That's an area where we add enormous value to our shared customers once we've done that migration. And I guess one of the takeaways I would give from this session is that migration motion is a very standard model for us now. We've done so many of them. We engage very well as a go-to-market organization with our AWS peers. We're very good at moving customers to the cloud.
And look, we've got a lot of our customers now having realized the benefits of using Teradata on AWS and creating some very transformative customer experiences.
Yeah, and a great example of that is the Very Group. Some of you will have been here last year and you'll have heard from some of the executive team of Very Group. That's a story we're very proud of. For those of you that aren't UK-based, the Very Group are a pure-play online retailer, a multi-billion-dollar organization, about 4.5 million customers. Think about 160,000 products across around 2,000 brands. And they've worked with Teradata and AWS to move and modernize their Teradata workload into the AWS cloud, particularly focused on use cases that relate to supply chain and product availability, looking at a 6-month window for availability of products, ensuring that they can meet those requirements of their customers, of course, driving up customer satisfaction and that general customer experience. And then increasingly now looking at AI. You can imagine an organization like the Very Group has a very interesting data set, and they're thinking a lot about how they can leverage that in a trusted AI context to continue to provide extraordinary customer outcomes and obviously, of course, serve their internal stakeholders better as well. So we're really proud of that Very Group example, and I know there's some people from that organization in the room here today, so we thank you very much for the true partnership between our two organizations.
Look, that's an excellent example of where we've come together and helped deliver a really strong business outcome for our customer.
And also, we transacted together through the marketplace, right? And that's one of the areas where we, again, collaborate very strongly. Maybe you could talk a little bit about the AWS.
Yes, so those of you who might not know what AWS Marketplace is, it's a digital channel where customers can come and find, try, buy our third-party products that run on AWS. Kind of sounds a little bit like Amazon.com, I guess. And there's lots of benefits for the customers in terms of the speed and efficiency they get from the automation, but also they're able to consolidate their spend and receive some good benefits from that across AWS.
Yeah, we're very happy to support our customers in working with us through the marketplace if that's appropriate with yourselves and with other organizations.
You guys have really been leaning in, and you've got your key portfolio now listed in the marketplace and positioned very well, because what we're seeing is more and more customers are buying software this way.
Absolutely. Now, it wouldn't be right for us to sit on stage and do any sort of conversation about data and analytics without talking a bit more about generative AI. I think everyone has to do it. And actually, Martin set a great context, I think, for the conversation we're going to have. And many of the customer examples that he talked to and the other sessions that have been happening this week and indeed this afternoon that you could join, I really encourage you to participate in those if you can. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about the AWS approach to generative AI.
So, look, we're in the midst of a wildly transformative and disruptive technology in Gen AI. Before the pandemic, you had a lot of our customers on the march to the cloud to transform their business. But then with the pandemic, coming out of the pandemic, economic situation as it was, our customers were really focused on cost savings, saving any way they could. Now, if you look at what we see, these customers are, they're focused again on investments and innovation, but they're grappling with, do we continue to migrate and modernize, or do we take that resource and we put it into Gen AI? I think you really can't do one or the other. You have to get the right balance, of course. You have to make the right priorities. But if you don't get your technology infrastructure right, you're going to have a hard time being successful with Gen AI. I think the Berry Group is a good example, continuing to modernize and have priorities, though, around innovation, what they're doing with, modernizing their architecture. But the opportunity with Gen AI is huge. I think we all know that. But you have to be in the cloud to capture it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of talk about language models. In fact, Martin was alluding to that as well. And our approach to language models, which is to try and meet customers where they are and give them optionality in terms of how they deploy language models either within or adjacent to the Teradata estate, but also leverage the capabilities that we have within our platform when we're thinking about very large and complex language models going forward. How do you guys think about language models? What's the approach that AWS are taking right now?
Oh, Rich, you teed me up very well for this. At AWS, we think about Gen AI across, we call it the three layers of the stack. It's kind of a holistic model, and it very much plays us to meet the customer where they are.
Yeah. The
bottom layer are for companies who want to develop their own model. They have to, train it. Of course, the key to training is compute. The key to compute is the chip. And as a result, at AWS, we have customized AI chips. We have one for training, which we call Trainium, one for inference, which we call Inferentia. And, getting the data organized and fine-tuned, being able to deploy these models at scale, low latency, certainly, being cost-efficient is really hard. So that's why giving customer choice, meeting customers where they are. There are customers that very much want to use other people's models. It's what we call the middle layer. And the key there is what we help our customers do is be able to use somebody else's model and customize their own data.
Okay.
And in doing this, they can still leverage AWS security and our features to develop that. We've developed a service called Bedrock, which takes our model or the model of our partners like Anthropic, Stability AI, Cohere, and lets them, use somebody else's model but customize their own data. And this is, really important because there's not one model that fits everybody's needs, right? Some models are going to do other, some things better. And then at the top of the stack, which is the application layer, AWS, Amazon are out there building Gen AI apps across all of our consumer divisions. We have Rufus, who is a shopping assistant, Alexa, who probably some of you have talked to, which we're making more capable, more intelligent, and then recently we have announced Amazon Q. So Amazon Q is a AI-powered assistant that can code, it can test, it can debug, it can deploy. So there are, as you can imagine, many different use cases. At AWS, we've created 47, to be exact, generative AI use cases across all different industries. And the key about all these use cases is that you really need to have data fidelity. And because if the data is not curated, it's not secured, it's not cleansed, you can't easily access it, it's going to be really hard to get the benefits from Gen AI. And that's why, working with Teradata is such a good complement for our companies, because this is, the heart and soul of your business, just listening to Martin, right, of what you do.
That's right. I mean, I think the reason why we wanted to talk to this is that our strategy is twofold, isn't it? It's to make sure that we we consider ourselves to be fortunate, the custodians with our customers of some of the most important enterprise data on the planet. And that enterprise data is generally in pristine condition, very leverageable for the use cases that we just talked about. But also we want to meet our customers where they are, and we want to leverage the investment power of our partners so that we have the best of both worlds. You have the power of Teradata, and you have the power and innovation of our partner platforms as well. And that's really what this partnership and many others that we're building are all about. We're really excited about the future that we're plotting together. You heard from Dan and Hilary and Tim about some of our product announcements that are upcoming, which will make all of this much more extendable, it will accelerate the pace at which we can co-innovate with our customers. And we're really looking forward to doing that with AWS.
Yes, same here. We've got a bright future ahead of us, I think.
Perfect. Marta, our time is up. It always flies by when you're having fun. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.